Hello, in this video I'm going to talk about moving round bales with the tractor. Now this is outside of my normal scope of videos that I shoot. Normally I shoot photography and car videos, how to fix cars, and so for my normal audience this might be a little unuseful, not very useful for them. But if you're into tractoring and you're also into photography, well, you can check out some of my other videos as well, and I do some repair stuff. So I use this, it's an LS 38 horsepower compact tractor. I mean, it's not a huge tractor. It's probably the smallest tractor I would use for this kind of work. It's just barely big enough to really pick up a round bale and kind of move it around. The spear I use is from Tractor Supply. It's probably not the heaviest duty, best made spike that you could buy, but it works. And I've moved probably a few hundred round bales now with it over the last 2 or 3 years, so I have a fair amount of experience with it. I do find it to be one of the more dangerous things that I've done. Just being it's one of the more dangerous activities that you can engage in with the tractor. You're moving around a round bale that can weigh 800 or more pounds. At the end of the tractor, it definitely shifts the weight quite a bit, so you have to be very aware of that, especially if I'm lucky, I live in Michigan, so it's all pretty flat. I don't have any hills, but if you have some hills, you really got to be careful. Now, I might go over some information that's not going to be that helpful for people that have been doing farming for years. If you're new into farming, you might find some things a little bit useful. So we're going to talk a little bit about the round bales, and then I'm going to talk about how to mount the spike and different ways to attach it. And then I'm going to talk about some concerns with using the spike on the end of a bucket. And then I'll show you some techniques for moving it and some cautionary stuff. So just to go over, first just talking about round bales. So round bales, you have the two types. I mean, there's different sizes, but they could be net wrapped or they could be just twine tied. The twine style is much more difficult to move just because of the fact that they tend to fall apart a bit more. At least the experience I've had, I've had the twine break or come undone, and then it drags and then it catches on the wheel and the wheel pulls it off, and then it's just a mess. So I definitely don't prefer those. Plus they should be stored inside because they're not as tightly bound. Now the net wrapped ones, which is what I'll show you here when I'm moving the round bale around, is definitely much more preferred. They can be stored outside because they are tightly wrapped. The water, if it rains on, is only going to get into them, penetrate probably an inch or so around the outside diameter. Now you do want to kind of get them off the ground if possible, especially, and you don't want to put them in a puddle. So what I use is pallets. I'm able to get pallets from my work that are 10 feet long, 4 feet wide, and I can stick 2, maybe 3 round bales on each pallet, and that at least just gets them off the ground a bit. And they're a lot easier to move. They stick together a lot better and a little bit more dense for sure. So they're definitely preferred if you have the choice between the two. Now, attaching the spike, there's a couple different ways to do it. This is really meant to be bolted on, the one from Tractor Supply. There's some that my father-in-law, for instance, he has a one that kind of gets attached with a chain binder, and that seems to work pretty well. You could use ratchet straps. I would strongly suggest that you do not go with that option. I did that originally with this. It was scary. It's not good. In fact, it might be hard to see, but on this one I have an added angle iron welded on the top. It doesn't support it very well. That piece is just one thin piece of, I don't know, maybe 1/4 inch steel. If you get the round bale coming up this way, it's not going to stop it from rolling over and possibly coming down on you, especially if you have the bucket up high for some reason for maneuvering. I would not suggest using the ratchet straps at all. If you're in a bind, you buy the spike, you get it home, and you need to move a round bale out to a pasture once, yeah, maybe do it then, but definitely keep your bucket low and don't get too crazy with it. It's very easy to attach this, you just drill a hole in the bucket. It's a 3/4 inch hole and a bolt. You just bolt it on. It's easy to take on and put take off and put back on. I generally do it in just a couple minutes. The thing weighs, I think, somewhere around 60 to 80 pounds total to move the spike. So it's not too crazy heavy. And I normally just keep a ratchet wrench and a wrench around in a specific spot, and that's all they use them for, is just to attach this hay spike. So 3/4 inch hole, drill it in. You get the bolt. It's probably about 3 or 4 inches long, and a nut, a couple washers. You're good to go. It's a pretty easy attachment. It's way safer than using the ratchet straps, 100 times safer. A few other notes, just when you're moving these things around, the round bale's in front of you. So if you're moving it at night with the lights and stuff like that, you might find that it's going to be obscured. I haven't done this yet, but I want to get lights on top of my rollover bar. It'll make it a lot easier, especially on my property. There's one section where I might drive onto the road to get from one side to the other for maybe a 50 or 100 yards or something. And with the round bale in front, you're pretty much, for oncoming traffic, they wouldn't be able to see my headlights. So I normally lift the round bale up higher so that my headlights shine through underneath. Sometimes I'll do that when I'm in the field too, just so I can see at night. So getting the lights on top of the roll cage is going to be a nice upgrade. I would suggest that as well. You'll find it to be pretty helpful. Plus, you can get some lights that point kind of at angles and you get a little bit better perspective. Now, just as a side note, with this system set up right here, it really is hard on the bucket, and it's hard on your loader as well. The reason being is that the round bale is separated from the pins here to here, 18 or so inches. That's a lot more leverage that this weight is hanging off the end of your arms and on your bucket. I didn't believe it. My father-in-law suggested I take some chain binders and wrap it around the bucket here and in between these spikes. The reason being to help hold the bucket together. Eventually what will happen is the bottom of the bucket will start to bow out just from having the weight of the round bales on it. And I believed him, but he was using my tractor and moving some round bales, and I could see the whole bucket flexing. And that really opened my eyes that though this is a fine setup, especially for a small tractor, a bucket like this, even a bigger tractor with a bigger bucket, more robust bucket, the best option would be, because this is a quick release bucket, is to get the quick release setup where it has a spike built into basically just a backer. That'll give you a lot better leverage for moving it. Plus, I think it'll save your bucket from wear and tear, and I think it'll make it a lot easier on the tractor, because sometimes my tractor just does not have enough oomph to bring the bucket up, curl it up with the round bale on it. So what I end up doing in order to get around that is I'll actually lift the bucket up higher, and that automatically changes so the round bale's here on the end of the bucket. When it gets up high enough, then the center of gravity is now shifted enough where I can curl the bucket up, and then I'll lower it back down. And that's just because of the tractor. It's just not that big of a tractor. That's why I say this is probably the smallest tractor I would use for this particular application. So this is an LS 38 horsepower tractor. It works well, but it's really just barely big enough to do this kind of work. I would also strongly suggest you're going to need weight in the back. So either if you're putting weights in the tires, I use a 800-pound, it's a concrete block that is on my 3-point hitch. The nice thing about that is I can drop it if I want to. But I definitely use it when I move round bales, and I'll show you here in a second, without trying to destroy the tractor, how much weight and how much the round bale can actually throw the tractor off. So I'm going to show you a few techniques here in just a second. It's not as easy to get the spike into the round bale as you might think. You don't just drive it in. If there's nothing behind the round bale, sometimes you'll just end up pushing the round bale and it's still only just barely on the end of the spike. So I'll show you how I've gotten them on in the past. I'll show you some safety stuff, and then some tricks for rolling them with the bucket. So let me do that now. So before I start showing you how to move the round bale around, just want to go over a few things. So here's the counterweight I have on the back of my tractor. You can make it, it's made out of a plastic drum. I ended up just buying it from a guy off of Craigslist for like, I forget what it was, 80 bucks maybe. It just seemed a lot easier to me than to actually have to make it myself. So here's some video of picking up the round bale. So you go in. Now what makes it difficult is you can't actually see the spike because the bucket's in the way. But what I found, it's better to go slightly low. You would think that when you're trying to pick up a round bale, you'd want to spear it right in the center, but that's not actually, I found, the case. It's better to go a little low with a smaller tractor because then it makes it easier to curl the bucket up. So here's a method for picking it up if it starts sliding forward, is to bring the bucket up and try to angle it downward and push down into it. And then you can really grab it that way. Other than that, you know, having another round bale behind it is easier. And now I just want to show you a couple times when, if you pick up the round bale and you bring it down really quickly, you can actually bring the back end of the tractor up, even with this counterweight on it. So it's just to demonstrate that how much weight these round bales have, and you know, it can really make the tractor tipsy, especially if you have it up and you could tip to the left or the right. I've had a few instances where it felt like I was getting close to that. So you want to be very, very careful. Now, when you're moving the round bales around, I just want to caution a couple other things. If you're on rough terrain and the round bale starts bouncing quite a bit and you start, slow down, stop, just let it settle, go a little slower. And I don't really think that's too much of a safety possibility if it's kept kind of low, but what's happening every time that round bale bounces, the bucket's going to flex. And so just to reduce the amount of stress that you're putting on that bucket, you're less likely to bend it if you keep it nice and steady. Also the same thing with the cylinders on your loader arms. You know, those things are taking the weight, and just the whole front end loader system is having to compensate for this big weight bouncing at the end of it. So always just go real slow over rough terrain is my suggestion. So I think that pretty much covers everything. Just a few other notes. Sometimes you'll be lifting the bucket up, like in order for me to get into some of the pastures, I'd lift up the bucket and able to make the turn and then bring it back down, or I lift it up and I sit there in front of the gate and open it so the horses don't all come out. You don't want to get underneath the bucket when you have a round bale. Actually, you never want to be underneath the bucket because there's always a chance that the hydraulic system might lose pressure and the bucket will come down. So definitely be careful about that. I think that pretty much covers everything. If you have any questions or constructive comments down, please leave them below. And if you like the video, give me a thumbs up. I probably won't shoot a lot of tractor videos, but if you like the photo stuff and some of the car stuff, feel free to subscribe. And I hope this was helpful. Thanks. Bye.